we are focusing and examining, we are just zooming in into how it has been as a female thriving in a male-dominated career. And my guest is Abimbola Adebakin. She's the CEO and the founder of Advantage Health Africa, right? Yes, Advantage
Yes.
Health Africa. I'll still get to the part where you decided to do that. But first, let's talk about your career journey, how it has been studying pharmacy. You study pharmacy, I believe.
Yes, I did.
Was it one of those courses they gave you? You know how we say they gave me a course, or I wanted to study a course. Was it one of
No, it
those?
was partly they gave me. It was partly that I was in the science line. My brother was in engineering line, so it just made sense. We're two for him to go to engineering and me to go to science, and medical sciences made sense then.
Okay, you wanted to become a doctor?
Yes. I think most pharmacists try to be doctors and then we didn't make it. And then we tried again and went for pharmacy. So I'm
Mm.
not gonna lie, that's it straight. I think I know more people now are going into pharmacy with
Yeah.
determination and clarity, but I just went with the flow back then.
So now I've gotten curious about pharmacy, and I don't know if there is a rivalry between doctors and pharmacists, the way there is a rivalry between doctors and nurses. Is there such rivalry?
There's a constant intra sectoral rivalry. It's doctors and nurses, nurses and pharmacists, pharmacists and doctors, dentists. It's all over. It's a
Mm.
very interesting interdisciplinary rivalry,
And I
which
wonder
really
why.
hasn't paid off.
Yeah.
It hasn't paid off. I think we've inherited old biases and we're persisting with them without checking them against the context and the reality.
Mm.
You find that in industries where you collaborate, you do better.
Mm.
Where engineers collaborate with architects, they build huge structures. Look at Dubai, for example. It's not the architect that is gone in to be prominent, or the engineers or the quantity surveyors. They're building big structures so they own it together.
Mm.
I think in healthcare, more of the medical doctors and the dentists and the pharmacists and all of us doing different things, dietitians, nurses, physiotherapists, we must understand that we're serving one patient.
Mm.
And if we take the one patient concept, we would then say, how do we make his life better? How do we give him or her care? And then when he or she looks back, can see health is better.
Mm.
Rather than, oh, my doctor is better or my nurse is not so good. No, we don't need that. We need more people to come to healthcare. We need them to think to come to the traditional orthodox channels rather than seek alternative care. And the alternative care is killing them, it's making prognosis poor, it's making them ill and then wait and delay until the very late stage
Mm.
before they come in. So, you hardly can care and give good care at that stage. But if they know that we're all together, we're all hustling and scuttling around for them, guess what happens? They trust us more, the demarketing amongst ourselves stops, and then we ourselves can now see where we can strengthen one another. We're like working solo when we should be working as teams.
Mm.
It's just
That is so enlightening, and I hope that somebody who's listening picks up something from that and just takes it up. That collaboration is way better than
it
competition.
is.
And well, since we started that talk, we can as well remain on it. Your journey into health tech, because I think one of the things you do, which is my medicines, you do deliveries of drugs. I'm not sure I have come across that until I came across your organization. So, what prompted it? And secondly, how have you been able to deal with the whole, I don't know what it is like in the tech industry, coming up with whatever solution and the hiring the people and dealing with this tech expert, and
Mhm.
maybe from another generation. I don't know, how has it been first, uh, when you decided to come up with that innovation?
Sure. Okay, so I didn't think I was going into health tech. I saw a problem, I saw a gap,
Mm.
and I went into it 5 years ago. 5 years seems like such a long time ago now in the health, in the tech space and the industry focused tech space, so health tech, fintech, crop tech, and so on. But 5 years ago, there was a huge gap that I saw a solution to, because if someone can order food and have it
Mm.
delivered and trust that food and eats it, irrespective of what could have happened on the journey. Then they can order their medication from a region where there's high concentration to a region where there's low concentration. And that was important because really, despite the number of pharmacies, especially in urban areas, you find that many of the pharmacies weren't carrying enough inventory to serve everyone. So it was not uncommon to go into a pharmacy, and I'm sure many of listeners have tried to fill the prescription and they say, oh, we don't have that one, we have this one. So you go from pharmacy to pharmacy, and it can be frustrating. Unfortunately, when the condition is an illness that requires urgent care, you must get the medication quickly.
Mm.
So we created an alternative to going around. Send a message to us and we bring it to you within hours,
Mm.
sometimes less than an hour. If you're not in this state, we find it in your state. So the very first thing we did was to aggregate almost 1,000 pharmacies and signal them that look, we'll call on you at any point in time to serve customers. We'll pay you, don't worry about that. But the point is be alert, be available. We need to know you have this inventory. So we did that back end, and now we're serving clients all across Nigeria. So that was our business model right from the beginning. So we then say, how do we then use technology to, make sure this happens? So at the front end, people need to know they can order seamlessly. So we use low tech like SMS, telephone calls, emails, WhatsApp as a messaging app. And later we built a platform. We built a technology platform that you can actually go in, log in your request, upload your prescription, and all of that.
Mm.
And we've done 3 iterations. We're on the fourth one right now. So that's the front end. At the back end is to find the medicines like crazy. And with most startups, you start like a duck. You know how a duck appears very smooth above water, but
Mhm.
underwater is flapping like
Yeah.
crazy. So, developing the technology to make sure we have line of sight to the inventory of 1,000
Mm.
pharmacies is a big deal. We're still at it. We're still building it. Still, iterating, changing the model. And one of the things that we're building is that for the pharmacies that do open themselves up for this kind of service, they also get a lot of value from the app, from
Mm.
whatever solution we're deploying.
Mm.
So they can use it for their own internal operations while their inventory is available. So we're creating access to market for them,
Mm.
and for you and everyone out there, we're creating for you access to genuine medicines at an affordable rate. So we're not charging extra. We're not giving you a premium because we brought it to you.
Mm.
You pay for shipping, that's fine. But we're not saying we look for this or, and people are coming to us more and more for their rare medications, for things that their mother can't find around the village,
Mm.
things that, oh, their parents have been on, they're in Umar here and they are in the US. Can you, we do that now.
Mm.
So more and more companies are turning to us to help them make sure their medication is out there, and then more and more people are turning to us to use.
That is so good and very, very commendable.
Thank
But
you.
in the course of doing this, because you mentioned earlier that you're a sole founder and Advantage Health Africa is like the mother for all this, right?
Yes.
Did your gender come into play in whatever form? Did it help you to accelerate or was it a hurdle? Did it slow you down? And did you have issues with maybe negotiation, with communication? Were people stereotypical towards you? Were they biased? I mean, in terms of you going to make people come on board and make them see reasons, or you had a team around you already built? I'm just curious.
So I don't carry that awareness of being a female as a disadvantage
Mm.
around me. So I think that worked for me rather than against me. So I was able to attract people easily, and people were able to find in me a serious entrepreneur as well as one who is caring and considerate. So my ethos, I think, around maybe you say it's about my female femininity, but also about the fact that I look at human beings as coming with strengths and coming with limitations.
Mm.
If you look at it in the broad spectrum, I think that's more of a female perspective to people. So it might have helped, and it helped me to attract greenhorns that were committed. So I look for commitment and then competence.
Mm.
And I got both in the people that were I was attracting. And I think that female energy helped. In some cases, my male energy comes right out there. Like, oh, no, 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 no. Sorry, I don't stand for nonsense. I might look nice and quiet and gentle, but no nonsense. So being
Okay.
assertive is a part of me. I've
Mm.
never been one not to be assertive. Never been one, to just, shy away from a negotiation or clamp down and say, no, I'm not doing this, and walk away.
Mm.
I think those are some of the characteristics that more females should pick up around, thriving in a male dominated environment.
Hmm. That's good. Well, for the first time, I'm quite happy about how being a female sometimes is a very good advantage. You have those inborn things, inherent
Mhm.
things that if you know how to wield it or harness it well, you can use it to your advantage compared to how I don't want to say the victim mentality, but it's as if we have seen too much of the negative of
Mm.
what happens to you as a female compared to the advantages it comes with.
For me, I think it's been advantageous.
That's why it's called advantage in Africa.
You pick that.
We'll take another break because time really flies by and it's okay for you to be a part of this conversation. So after this break, we come back and we continue discussing thriving as a female in a male-dominated career, industry sector, whatever it is you like to label it. You're listening to Soul Sisters here on Smooth 98.1.
Love life. We are smooth. 98.
Okay, so we have another 3 minutes break.
Sweet 98.1. It just feels good.
And
Hi,
after
Dad.
10 minutes, we
Hey,
wrap it up.
Tamiwa, how was school today?
School is great today. Daddy, guess what?
All the
Kamsi's
ads
back
really
in
don't
school
allow
again.
us to have
Kamsi,
so
isn't that the girl that is
long.
always talking in class? Yes, Mom.
So, where has she been?
Dad, I thought I told you, Daddy.
Oh dear, that's so sad.
Yes, Daddy. She stopped coming to school because there was no one to pay her school fees.
Oh, has she paid now?
I heard an insurance company paid her school fees. Now she can become a doctor she always wanted.
Awesome.
Kamsi said her mommy told her that her daddy got her an
So you don't
insurance
charge
for her school.
extra
So are
for
you going to
what
get one
you
for me
do.
too?
Just the
God forbid.
But darling,
That's
Tamiwa
all.
has a point.
The
We should
pharmacy
get the
can
same
pay us.
insurance policy. We must do it
Do
for
they
the
charge
love of
extra?
her dreams.
Yes, that's
What
why
is
quality education for your children must never be interrupted. Get the old
So if you
mutual
walk into a
education
pharmacy
protection
and you
plan.
need
EduSure
let's
for
say
your children
3,000,
today. Do it for the
charge you
love of their
3,000.
dreams. Visit www.oldmutual.com.ng or call 0
Wow.
700
How do you make your
to get started.
profits?
From that discount.
Not extra.
Volume,
Summon the oracle now.
volume.
Greetings, my king. How can the oracle serve you?
That
You will tell me the secret to
commendable.
How did that
Because
happen without a
for
driver?
you to have a service like that,
My
it's a
secret
gold
is the
mine
power of
that should
5G.
be milked, if you know
Tell me
what
more
I
about the
mean.
power of 5G.
That's why we get these brands. They are attracted to our model
5G will give you
because
amazing
it's
things like
social
remote surgeries,
innovation.
self-driving vehicles, instant
So
file
we're
downloads,
making
smart
money
homes.
from the discount.
5G's
but we need
amazing
more
technology
volume.
will change
Anything
the
that'll
way
get us
we
volume.
experience life and the internet.
So if,
Get
for
ready to
example, you
encounter
had
the incredible. And
2,000 or
remember,
2 million
no
users
B2B,
and you said,
now
oh,
MTN 5G.
subscribe so for their health.
If you're looking
that's
for
the use
non-stop
of
entertainment on the go, then Showmax is
So
for
how do
you.
you
Showmax
partner with
is
others
not a
to get your
channel,
word
it's
out
a
there
streaming
together?
app where you can
For how long
enjoy
have
the
you
best
been
entertainment,
doing
live sports
How do you
action,
get
and
people to know?
amazing
How do
drama
you
series.
advertise?
So
Live
we've done
DJ
organic
anywhere,
growth
anytime. Watch
We want
DJ,
to
no
start
streaming,
adverts
only
next year.
on Showmax
Want
for
to
just
take it more
1,200
of,
naira a month.
collaboration,
So, what
so
are
that
you
we
waiting
can
for?
indeed
Sign
leverage
up
other
at
people's pockets of
showmax.com.
users.
That is, in my mind, I just thought, okay, there will be some extra on there.
Yes, so just spell Dangote and your feet become multi-millionaire inside Batch 1. For one-time winning, buy bags of Dangote cement, carry the scratch
So
card
that's
and
my
win sharp
medicines.
prize.
What
Inside
about
Batch 2, don't get star prize. Carry
the
the scratch card
diagnostics,
inside
the
the bag.
lab
Cost spell
parts?
So that's really us
DANGOTE.
coming
This one
on
will
to
confirm
you
you
to
to
pick up
win
your
1
sample
million naira cash.
and
Chakam. And for
send
Batch
it
3
to
will be the
third-party
mega star
processors.
prize. Carry the scratch
How,
card inside the
so
bag.
first you
Spell
have to go to the diagnostic
DANGOTE.
center.
Here,
They,
you fit
they'll
win
recommend
5
the
million
test.
naira cash.
Yeah,
If
so
you pick
for
the
us,
letter,
we
when
focused on
Dangote
just
Eagle take on
molecular
top, make
diagnostics.
sure say you find letter O,
So to
make the
narrow
Dangote Eagle
spectrum
logo.
your
Terms and
child
conditions they
or
show.
yourself, you want to match
The
DNA
medium of
to
exchange,
for now.
the
But
currency that
ideally,
flows
if we're
through the
running a
veins of
full
any viable
spectrum
economy,
testing
your
service,
money.
then
Tune
you
in
get a
to Smooth
prescription for your
98.1 for a
medical
definitive weekly analysis and check on your income.
One
I've
the rich
even
dad work
focused
for
more
money.
on the
It's all
medication,
about your
focus more
finances
on
made
health
easy. What a
insurance
way to
or
run
health
your life.
coverage
Personal
for
Finance on
medication.
Smooth
So they take a
98.1
free
every
case every
Wednesday from
day.
5:15
You
p.m.
will get all the medication you need for about 50 conditions in a month. That's the health.
Hello, I'm Richard Quest of CNN, and this is Smooth 98.1. 98.1.
Love music, love life. Smooth 98.1. You're listening to Soul Sisters here on Smooth 98.1. The conversation has been on since 11 o'clock. That's for you if you're joining us for the first time. So you have about 15 more minutes if you will just sit down and keep the ride locked. My guest is Abimbola Adebakin. She is a certified performance technologist, a pharmacist, management consultant, and tech innovator. And we're talking about how it has been for her, from one place to the other, from being a pharmacist to being a consultant. We've not talked about you being a consultant. What led
Yeah.
you there?
So at a point in time, practicing pharmacy did not seem as exciting as I wanted it to be. And I spoke to someone and she said, "Oh, we take all sorts. We take from people that graduate with Yoruba to nuclear scientists." And I said, "Where is that?" And she said, "Accenture." So I applied to Accenture and I got taken in. And my world opened up. It was really exciting doing industries, based work, working in the financial services sector. And there I learned a lot more about organizational design and organizational behavior. And that has shaped me to where I am today, looking at systems and doing things in a systematic fashion. So systemic work is what we need in healthcare. So at the point in time, I said, you know what, you've been learning and doing and working for others. Why don't you come to your own sector? Yeah,
And that was why you decided to branch out.
to come back.
Wow, that's so good. If only we have more, not if only, I think we do have a lot of innovations these days.
We do. We
Yeah.
do. We have a lot of people now understanding that different sectors have models that work. And when we bring them and couple them, we can apply here in healthcare. There are a lot of things we need to do from the demand side to the supply side, from quality to affordability to access. For example, we're doing something in affordability that we picked up from another sector, and now we're saying, you know what, each person can actually take a cover, a 2,000 naira cover per month. It's very easy. It's less than what you would spend at a quick service restaurant. But for that whole month, your medication is covered for a number of diseases. And so you're sure that that's done without advertising. But it's some of the things that we're saying, that health tech is helping us to bridge gaps of access, affordability, and quality. It's also helping you to stay in remote areas and still afford what those who are in the city are doing. So the migration is no more it's not forced because of your health. Whatever, if you're migrating from rural to urban, it's for another reason, not for your health. Now you can speak to a doctor remotely. You can speak to your pharmacist remotely. There are certain tests that you can now have brought to you at home. Your samples are taken at home, and then results are sent to you by your telephone. So there's so much more we can accomplish now with care at where people are in place. The pharmacist can advise you routinely about your medication, because almost 50% of treatment failures come from poor access to pharmaceutical care. Think about it. You spend 100,000, 150,000 on going to a clinic, accessing care, get your medication, and then the treatment is poor. What happens? Maybe you're taking medication with food you shouldn't be taking it with, or two medications that you didn't talk about when you went for that intervention, and then you come back home, combine it with what you were given, and the bioavailability is poor. What are we talking about? Pharmaceutical care actually is needed in all medical interventions. And we're not saying medication as the product, we're saying the service that goes with it. So, for example, in my medicines, we have fulfillment pharmacists that follow up all of the patients. It's so important that pharmaceutical care is enhanced.
That is beautiful. Really, I'm thinking about the possibilities that could have, especially when it grows, and what could be of our healthcare sector. And speaking of migration, since you mentioned it earlier, I can't help myself but ask, what is your take on our current brain drain? And since you're about building the bridge,
we're losing people, not just in health, but in tech, in finance, in many other sectors. And we're losing a critical crop in the demographics at an age that really we need them to be here building. Nigeria is still building. We've not reached maturity. So you need builders that are indigenous who have a heart naturally for the country. So if we leave our country for others to come in, because as people are migrating, guess what? Others are coming in with their family members. Go on a plane and travel back in. You'll see a lot of people with Asian heritage and so on coming in with their families. I live in an estate. If a Nigerian leaves occupancy, guess who comes in? Probably an Indian.
What?
Yes. So they're coming in with family. They've seen gold in Nigeria. I know it's really rough gold, and I know people say, "Oh, you're too idealistic, you're too altruistic, you're not seeing what we're seeing." I understand. I'm just saying the reality I am faced with is that each time someone moves out, a Nigerian family moves out in my estate, it is filled. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's indicative of the fact that they see something in the same Nigeria. So I always encourage professionals, please check in first before you check out. Many are not built as entrepreneurs. They're looking for a very comfortable, good job. And I don't blame anyone. I can't encourage anybody to be an entrepreneur if it doesn't occur to you naturally. But if it occurs to you to try another line within your profession or outside your profession that is non-traditional, please try it. You hardly find medical doctors taught how to be entrepreneurs when they come out of school. They just really taught the clinical world,
Yeah.
rise through their senior reg, blah blah blah, and so on.
So linear.
So that linear approach might not work for the dynamic building, context that we have in Nigeria right now. You need to be able to combine finance with legal and product development. Product development should not be left with just tech. Everybody should have the mindset of how do I make user experience and user interfaces better. Health insurance, for example, is a huge area that we need to grow in. We have less than 5% utilization of, or less than 5% of our population having health insurance that we can bank on. For that, it shows that there is a room for growth. If you survey, you find 70%, 80% saying yes, they want health insurance. So if it's 5% compared to 80%, so there's a gap we need to fill. But we can't fill it the way we've been doing health insurance. People need to get creative. People need to make health insurance more like a side of come and eat food. Come and do something and then you get insurance. So that way it's not in our face, because we don't typically go and insure ourselves.
No.
Say, no, Jesus is
The
mine.
blood of Jesus is the ultimate insurance seller.
Just like in Nigeria, we don't do, burial insurance, funeral insurance.
No.
Who plans for that?
That is even a far one. Talk about will. People don't even want to get a will written.
And in some societies, it's normal. I actually understand that the Momo in Ghana didn't pick up until people realized they could pay for their funeral, some service with it or something, and it picked up because of that. Because there it's acceptable. Southern Africa also, insurance is beautiful. It's their way of life. They've learned it, and so funeral insurance works. So health insurance might also work. But here we need to find what works. What works?
What she said now brings to mind one of the conversations that has been on for a while, how we need to get customized in Nigeria and Africa and stop doing the copycat thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We led the way when, I worked in Accenture then in helping to make sure ATMs were in off-site locations. And so we did a lot of policies and, things around now what is acceptable for ATMs. I remember, leading the operational team, the technical team, and the business team, and leading discussions with banks and all. And one of the things we realized was for security reasons, we can't use mark stripes the way it's used in the US. We need to use chip-based cards. We were champions of chip-based cards. In America, mark stripe was still accepted for many years after Nigeria had transited to chip-based. We led the way in mobile banking. I hope you know.
Yeah.
We didn't wait for copycat. So we can lead the way in many other areas. I wish more women and even many more entrepreneurs had that self-belief. I can lead the way in many things. That's just it.
Again, this is something I always like to emphasize on because I am the opinion that mentality makes the man. So we need more of this mindset too. And as you were talking about the tech solutions and the models that work, we can't keep working in 2022 with a model of 1960. I couldn't help but think about the really creative generation that we have now who also are migrating in mass. So,
Yeah. Let me tell you something. All over the world, digital pharmacies are taking over from physical pharmacies.
yeah.
And our digital tech minded natural born tech leaders are leaving to go and take standard regular jobs when they could be here innovating.
Right.
I know it's frustrating when you can't pay for stuff. I know. I just wish we had more people funding at the seed level, at the pre-seed. So I was CEO at the Tony Elimelu Foundation, and we funded them pre-seed. An example is Happy Coffee today. She didn't have a company when she applied. But when she applied and won and got in, she quickly went to do the needful. How many accelerators or funds are available for people when they just have the idea? So you need to commend initiatives like that at the Tony and Mary Foundation and then produce more.
That thing you just mentioned is the same reason we do not endorse people until they make it big. And then we tell them, oh, come and be my brand ambassador. That makes no sense. Grow people
Grow
up.
seeds, grow seeds. If you grow 100, 5 may shine. And the 5 will make up for the 95 that don't shine.
I hope people are listening and picking this up. And I hope this is changing somebody's mind from jackpotting. How time flies. We'll take the last break, and when we come back, we'll wrap this conversation up. This has been Soul Sisters here on Smooth 98.1. And the voice you're listening to, well, my name is Oluwaseun, and my guest is Abimbola Adebakin. She is the founder and CEO of Advantage Health Africa.
To soothe the soul.
From the smooth, strictly soul.
This is Smooth 98.1.
Love music, love,
We're down to the last 5 minutes. We're just on our own.
Listen to this to
I didn't even ask
the
them.
amazing power of 5G. Sorry, I played that at 5G speed. Now here it is at the speed you're used to.
Oh, okay.
With hyper-fast internet speed, low to
The phone
zero
you're
lag and
using
buffering,
is
multiple connections, and
sometimes
quality data sharing,
When I
5G
come
will
back,
give
I'll
us
ask them.
amazing things like remote surgeries, self-driving vehicles, instant file downloads, smart homes.
Get ready to experience the incredible. And remember, no BTQ, not MTN 5G.
Yeah, true. That was actually the last part there. That what was the word you have with those who are looking at doing things and the ones that have been tagged as ambitious.
Click
How do you
1x
get things
NG
done? How
now
do
to get
you-
registered. Use best odds NG as promo code to get 300% bonus up to 189,280 naira on your first deposit. Easy to use, easy to win.
But how has it
One
been
expert-
coping? Do you have to do lots of travels? Sometimes being away from home? How has it been balancing family?
Not sure I have the best.
In class.
I don't have
Auntie,
the best
Brian said that
solution
the
in
bond
that
with the school
regard, but
competition
when
is
I was
back.
traveling
We
a
are
lot
preparing
and
for
had
it.
my
The
mom,
bar factor is back.
I would send my
Okay,
sons
let's
to
see your
that, which was
preparation.
very
Drop a
strong
beat. That's right.
Back
The
to-
Bond
back
Factor
to
School Talent
Ghana.
Competition is back with up to 6 million naira to be won. To
Not socially
participate, visit www.bondfactor.ng.
But my son
Bond
is very
Vita,
well, very
strength to
mature.
dream.
He learned very early. When he travels.
It will be alright. So it means you don't have plans to leave Nigeria?
Not me. I'll tell you someone. I remember when I finished my career in Advantage Health Africa, because I do handle them. rather go for a PhD and learn sculpting.
Yeah, that was one of the questions I had. What is the ultimate for you? What would that thing that when you do it or get it achieved, you say, yes, I've finished my course?
Manufacturing.
Of drugs,
Yes.
generally?
Drugs or excipients or things that go into drugs.
It's time to look at the papers now. Let's see what the headlines are across Nigerian newspapers.
For every second that goes by, something new happens. That's why the news cycle never ends, even if the world stops to spin. Everything begins in the green room, with critical focus on breaking stories making the headlines.
Okay, let's begin with business day.
From politics to economy, policies to decisions, national to international. Take a moment, read all about it as we bring you a piece-by-piece breakdown of everything that affects you and the next person. Get up to speed with the essential stories and see the big picture. Only on Freshly Pressed on the Smooth Breakfast every weekday from 7:30 a.m.
You should always listen to Freshly Pressed here on Smooth every weekday at 7:30 just for you to get information, the analysis, the really good analysis. And of course, your thought counts. So please be a part of Freshly Pressed every morning, weekday mornings from 7:30. Right now, you're listening to Soul Sisters here on Smooth 98.1. I have been so engrossed in the conversation that I forgot to tell you you can be a part of it by sending your messages to 0809 444 0981. Again, that's the WhatsApp line 0809 444 0981. I do not have much time because we have about 4 minutes left, so you have to be quick about it. And if you want to call to ask my guest a question, 01 448 9981 is the call line. Again, 01 448 9981. That's on the assumption that you've been listening all through. But if not, do not worry. We're streaming live on YouTube. We'll save the video for you so that you can go back to watch and just still drop your comment, or you can also tag us on Twitter. So back to it as we wrap this up. How would you advise or encourage or motivate the younger females out there, not even younger, or females generally out there, who are looking to do something bold and take that audacious step in their career?
It's a good point, Shona, you made. Females generally, because I started this entrepreneurial journey at 45. So I don't want anybody, first of all, to disqualify herself. Please step in at any age. You can be 57 and start. There's so many examples of that. But the point is, be ready for a rough time. I know how you prepare for a hike. Yeah. You get ready. You put your balm, you put your water, you carry dry food, you wear good shoes and all of that. So get ready for a hard time, because entrepreneurial work is not fun and games. You see us on TV, you see us out there, we seem to be smiling and shining, but it's correct. Yes, we are smiling and shining, but there's a lot of flapping. If you keep the duck as your symbol, just know there's a lot of, making do with what is not available just to get your end goal. And that resilient spirit is essential. It's a key ingredient. And also have a right family structure. Early times, my mom would be, my best caretaker. So my son learned very early, mommy travels. So what you will not stand for later, don't encourage it at the beginning. If your spouse needs freshly cooked food every day, you may not be available for freshly cooked food every day. So it's important to also even know that you're marrying a kind-minded person, someone who knows you're on this journey and you will change. Guess what? Many people don't realize they will change. When you become more manly, when you become more assertive, you do it with people that you're working with, and then at home you're expected to be, simple and gentle. You're gonna change. So your partner needs to understand that this person is evolving, especially during entrepreneurship. I've seen too many female entrepreneurs lose their partners on this journey. So they have to make a choice. And somehow your heart is tied to this mission. So please get ready, okay? But it's beautiful, it's rewarding, it's affirming. And every human being, when you climb through the Maslow's theory, from basic needs to, security needs to belonging needs, you now need self-actualization and self-esteem needs. And entrepreneurship can do that for you.
So When will you hang your boots? When will you say, I have finished the course?
When I finish this, so I give myself some time, and in about 5 years, I hope to have started manufacturing. So what we do at Advantage Health Africa, we're right from the last mile with my medicines. We now are involved also in distribution with Advantage Pharma. Hopefully, we'll go back to the value chain back end of it with manufacturing. We need it. We need more in Nigeria and Africa.
We are too dependent on a lot of things that come up from out there.
And that vulnerability makes me know that if I say our three cardinal issues are access, affordability, and quality, those are the three things we're addressing, then we must address manufacturing in one way or the other. Either the excipients, the finished products, the active pharmaceutical ingredients, the API, but something going into medication independence.
Thank you so much. I cannot thank you enough for your
Thank
presence,
you.
the time, and of course, all the gems you've dropped in the course of this discussion. On WhatsApp, Wilson says, my regards to your guest. Your guest has done well, more grace, and thank you so much for that.
Thank
So
you.
we continue with the other ones on social media, Twitter at Smooth91FM, and then YouTube. Just drop your comments there, and we'll see it. And if there is any inquiries you'd like to make, you can come to WhatsApp. You can follow Advantage Health Africa, I believe.
Yes. At my underscore medicines. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook.
All right, so when you go there, you will know what they are about in case you have missed out a part of what they do, and just get it there. It's very beautiful. And please, this is me, Apiliopoli, to you. Stay in Nigeria. Let's build Nigeria. Let's just stay here.
Yeah. Check in before you check out.
That's a tagline. I'm going to put that on Twitter. Check in before you check out. Right now, I am checking out, but not entirely, because on the other side, you will listen to more soul music. But for now, we just take that breather and then you listen to the news and we get back to it. My name is Oluwaseun, and my guest has been Abimbola Adebakin, the founder CEO of Advantage Health Africa. This is Smooth 98.1.
All right.
Thank you so much.